Welcome to the Main Basketball Rankings podcast. I'm your host, basketball data nerd, Lucas McNelly. Jon Duke is here with me because we have, as you may have heard, emergency Celtics information. And when there's emergency Celtics information, I like to talk to the person who I know who knows the most about the Celtics. So I'm sorry that you're here.
I'm wearing black. Well, I'm
Yeah.
also wearing a Duke shirt too, but
Yeah.
we're both wearing black.
We're both mourning.
I mean,
Yeah.
Game 5 was great, and
That
will sustain us a little bit. But this is a really sad week for the Boston Celtics. And, the guy that seemingly could never get hurt, would never, seemingly could play through anything, has the worst injury at the worst time. So, other than that, it's great.
Yeah. So here's my first question for you. Wednesday. Okay. Seemed like it was going to be a good day. I get home from work. I watch The Studio before the game, before the lottery, which is a great show. You should, if you're not watching it already.
You're Monday.
Monday? Was Monday the lottery?
It has been a long week for you. For those who don't know, before pre-show, Lucas told us that he processed 8 billion town reports, and so
and phone books.
As a long-time listener, first several time.
I'm usually more on my toes.
I'm just trying to help those listeners out.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Monday seemed like it was going to be a good day, as Mondays often are not. And then the Dallas Mavericks of all teams win the lottery. Then Jason Tatum gets the Achilles ruptured at the end of the game. So my question to you is: God dead?
Is God dead? Well.
I mean.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, that's a lot of evidence that maybe.
It's hard to argue any other direction. I will note that Monday was a full moon. So, and I'm not a nurse nor a police officer, but those who work in both of those fields tell me that crazy things happen on full moons. And I think, it's incidentally. Anytime I have a meeting on a night of a full moon, I get nervous. I had a meeting that night. It surprisingly went calmly. And then I came home to find out that Cooper's going to Dallas.
Which is weird. And
then, of course, everything with JT. Is God dead? I don't. I think we're gonna hold out hope, maybe.
Yeah. And then Mitchell Robinson hit six free throws in a row. I just want to point that out.
And then hit the nighty-night. I don't know if you saw that. He hit the nighty-night after 6 for 6.
Did he? So, I missed that part. I think I was drunk by that point.
It would have been a good choice after that part of this week. It's hard. I read Wright Thompson, who works for ESPN, wrote a really, really long feature on the Boston Celtics that was released today. I would urge everybody who is even a passing Celtics fan, but certainly those of us who lived and breathed with this team or, certainly watched the Celtic City documentary to absolutely read that. It was just phenomenal. There were things in there that I'd never heard of. And that's, really, really, really good.
I'll have to read that.
Got to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Send that, DM that to me.
I will do that. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's focused on the history and how everyone's in the present day really is just grasping at straws to reach anywhere near the greatness that the Kuzis, the Russells, the Heinsons, the Havliceks, that, these guys with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rings. And that everybody, like Bird is a god, but he's a mere mortal in comparison to what those guys did. And everybody, Pierce, Garnett, Tatum, they're all trying to get to those heights, but it's beyond us, And
to be fair, Kuzi didn't have the second apron.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, do you get would you have gotten relief from the second apron by having the territorial pick? I mean,
I don't know how that works. Yeah,
it's a good question in 1950s. Do you give up the ice capades to get Russell? There's a lot of questions about these things. But this has been a bad week, and it sort of everything sort of comes crashing down of what is the future of this team? Where is it going to go?
Mm-hmm.
I read, that obviously they did the surgery right away for Tatum,
Yep.
which allowed, apparently this was in the Wright Thompson piece, that Kobe had his surgery. Of course, there's those Tatum Kobe things that we see all the time. There is the Kobe said apparently that by having the surgery right away, that knocked 3 months off of the rehab.
So I read something more about that. Noah Dalzell from what is she has the You Got Boston podcast,
Yeah,
among
yeah.
other things. She talked today to an Achilles expert, and because apparently like the timing is essential here, and something about gross things that I don't understand, but he was able to do it within the first 12 hours, and Kobe it was like 3 days.
Okay.
So even that difference is huge, and like they just got incredibly lucky in that the best Achilles guy in the world happened to be in New York, and they were in New York, and his schedule was free for that day, and so he was able to just jump in and do it. But like Dame Lillard had to wait like 3 days for the scheduling to clear up, stuff like
Wow.
that, and that apparently that is so huge a cut. Something about how the end of the frayed, ruptured part degrades or something builds up. Almost it felt like almost like rust or something, or like if you leave meat out, and it sort of decays a little bit, something like that. I'm not a doctor in any way, shape, or form, but it sort of sounded like that. So to get
Speaking
it
it really well, though. Just saying.
clean, thank you. So, but just the cleaner, it's cleaner within the first 12 hours. So that's could be very, very big.
And that's so. Once you get past the initial shock and awe of what that was, then what, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the question is, obviously this Celtics team can fight a good fight. We saw that in Game 5. I think we'll see that in Game 6.
Yeah.
Will it be enough to win 3 in a row? I think they could do it, honestly. I think they have the talent. I don't know if they have the health. I think this team is beat up. I think
if Porzingis was healthy,
exactly.
I would feel a lot better.
I would. Well, they should beat them. But
Right.
without a healthy Porzingis, with Jalen with the knee, you can summon, sort of a lot to get through one night, to get through 3 nights and a 7th game, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Pritchard played well. Obviously, Derek White, 34 points. And you need to have the one and the only Luke Kornet to
Maine's own Luke Kornet. I think we've adopted him now, right?
Moose. We love Moose.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I know he's great. And he wears the Maine Celtics gear, so you gotta respect that.
Maybe get a Maine Celtics Kornet jersey. If I can track one of those down, that would be a good get. I don't know. Did they sell those?
I haven't seen them, but they should.
Someone should talk to them.
Like Hauser, they should sell Hauser Maine Celtics jerseys.
Yeah, I wonder if there's rules about that.
Yeah, there's got to be. But I would think it would be under the leagues. Where I don't know if I've ever seen those. Sort of.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool.
It would be cool. I know. Yeah.
It'd be like a real ballers know sort of situation. If you had the Maine Celtics Kornet on the back, that'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, to me, it's now about timing, right? So if Tatum can come back in 7 months, that means you're talking well before the All-Star break. You're talking January.
Maybe February, something like that.
You're not. Yeah. So maybe you're not as, I was thinking 10 months. What I had seen from in street clothes and so 10 months. That's close enough to by the time he gets anywhere near game ready, it's playoffs. It's almost a wash. If he comes back in 7 months, then that's, like you said, that's Christmas. I mean,
there's the best case scenario is he comes back in time to get fully ramped up for the playoffs without coming back too soon to further risk injury, like Durant had when Durant tried to come back for the finals, that sort of situation.
Right.
And then you turn into being the 6th seed that nobody wants to play.
Yeah.
And you're just something like that. And the higher seeds are just like, oh, great. What do we get?
Well, I guess, and that's So that's the question where the team is right now
Right.
is this team banged up and tired, and they get a normal off season, no Olympics, everyone goes, KP goes back to Latvia, everybody sort of does that sort of thing. You run it back. You have the new owners that goes through in July.
Mm-hmm.
Try one more year. You try to roll the dice.
Like the Garnett
And
Pierce group did.
yeah, the 13, they said, well, 12 winning, we were close, but 13, they did one more time without Ray Allen, and then, it didn't work out because, of course, the ACL to Rondo. This is the ACL to Rondo, but doing it 7 months earlier. So you're going to have a healthy group. You'd hope.
But there's then the question of the tax.
Right.
And then I wonder if I've been looking at the numbers a little bit, and I'm no cap wizard by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't look like they can get out of the tax to stop the repeater without blowing it up completely. But even if you do that, because you got to get money back in these trades, you can't just dump Porzingis for a first.
That's right. So that's the problem, is that like they're at this point where a lot of people have been shockingly patient about the fact that they're in the middle of this, but the team seemingly is blowing up in front of us all.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at whatever the trades are. First off, there's limitations on what you can send out and what you can send back, so you can't easily get out of the second apron even when you're there. So it's not as if you can say, well, we'll send away Jaylen Brown for a bag of basketballs. You can't do that. That's not a deal you can do anymore. So you have to find a way to sort of pick your pieces and go where you can in smaller increments.
At least shave some of the tax.
Exactly. But how much are you giving away just to get out of the tax? The teardown either has to be, I think, pretty gutting to the entire rotation, really. I look at Tatum, White, and Pritchard are probably like the three that you'd want to keep because of age, health, and where they are. And then it's everybody else is sort of at the next tier, not because they're better than the others on the roster, but Drew Holiday at his age and the money he's making, that's an easy guy. You could say, look, by the time, if you did have to gut this, by the time you're back up, kind of like what happened with the Warriors got rid of their guys and sort of kind of had a new wave of things, and Steph at the heart of it still. Mm-hmm. And, they were in contention until, Steph got hurt again. That to me is where you want to be and sort of set yourself up for that second wave, if that's what you're going to do is in gut the team. So
it's tough. And like, I feel like Porzingis is almost definitely gone. Like, it seems like he's just too hurt. Like, you can't, if you're not a championship contender, if you're not a true contender, they got to trade and get, even if they get off some of the money, or, can they get like an expiring and then waive the person? Can they take on someone's bad contract and waive them?
They can waive them, but you're still, that cap money is still going to count. So That's the thing. Porzingis has a year left after this. Mm-hmm. So if in some ways it kind of it may make sense to just keep him, hope you can keep him healthy, and or you unless you get something for him, if you can really get if he's not a negative asset, which I think is still a question, then you're probably going to have to say, if you can get something for him, he's gone. But for $30 million, you can take off the books without trying next July. It might make sense to just hold on to the asset or even waive him now. You could do that if it was that bad. The other thing the consideration is Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet seems like he might be a piece that you'd want to keep around for the future.
And he's not in the tax. He's not in the factor now because he's unrestricted.
Yep, as is Horford. And now Horford's money, I would assume Horford, unless they're going to be really bad, will want to stick around for a couple more years. So maybe like a 2-year deal with a player option for the second year, that sort of thing. I could see him sort of going year by year like that. Mm-hmm. I don't
Small
think
numbers.
it's no money at this point for him. You know,
Right.
he's not going to go anywhere else. It's got to be Boston or bust. You know, for sure.
I wonder if him going to Philly was like no, I'm good doing. I don't need to do that again.
Yeah.
My question with Kornet is, do we prep him to take over for Scal?
Yes, please.
Because he's hilarious.
Where do I sign?
Could,
Please.
and could we do an NIL thing where we pay Kornet off the books?
Yes.
Can Dunkin' Donuts make him their lead national spokesman, pay him a shit ton of money that the Celtics don't pay him, and then he's got more incentives there. It's like it's not technically a violation of the cap rules because it's an endorsement, those are fine, but this endorsement isn't really worth very much to us if you're not playing for the Celtics.
Right.
So
right. Yes.
Yes. So that's my question. If how easily could you skirt the rules and just have a Luke Kornet NIL collective?
I love it. If there was a way to double in getting Scal out at the end of of his
Scal might go national. You keep hearing those rumors that he might get a national gig.
No, I'm so excited about it. I in fact, okay, I saw that there was somebody took a video of what was going on the court, whatever, and I saw Scal was like he was calling the game with headset on.
He's probably doing radio.
Well, I was wondering. I know he wasn't doing it for. I know for sure he wasn't doing it with Sean Grande. I can say for certain. That's not going to happen.
I thought it was interesting that he wasn't in Celtic City.
Well, okay.
I mean, you saw him show up every so often. But I would have thought they would have interviewed him for either the 08 run or the current run.
What's your phrase about the name for your podcast? It's a niche. What's your line?
Oh, I forget. It's a niche. It's definitely a niche, though.
A niche pod for Okay, so this is I haven't talked to anybody, but Sean Grady was on our show, and I want to say we're friends, but we converse every so often.
For people who don't know, you had the original Celtics podcast.
Thank you. Yes.
Back in the day.
2005, 20 years ago when we started.
Wow.
So, yeah. So Sean took the radio job with the idea that he was eventually going to move over to TV. That was 20 years ago when he came over from Minnesota. That was what was expected of him. Now, he respected Mike Gorman. No one was ever going to say, move over Mike Gorman, Sean Grande's here. Okay?
Right.
That was never going to happen. Tommy and Mike were an institution. That's the way it was. Mike announces he's going to leave. And Sean, very above board, very respectfully goes on Celtics Beat podcasts, with Adam Kaufman and says, look, this year's about, I don't really want to answer questions about my interest in the TV job. This year's about Mike Gorman, celebrating Mike Gorman. There'll be a time for that.
Mm-hmm.
The next week after that podcast comes out, NBC Sports Boston announces Drew Carter is going to be the guy in waiting. So
this is before. This is when. Before Drew was doing just the road games. Okay.
Right. So clearly, nobody was talking to Sean Grande, who had done the radio for 20 years and was the expected sort of next in line for the job. And though he had done a number of TV games that prior year. You may remember he filled in a little bit more. Mike had some eye issues, and so he was working with Scal and seemed to go pretty well. But what you should know is Scal is the one who basically decides what's going on. He's the straw that stirs the drink at NBC Sports Boston's Celtics broadcast. If Scal wants it, it happens. Scal, they were even looking at trying to push out Abby Chin.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
he was doing interviews and doing tests, with other people to replace Abby. So Chad Finn kind of shared that one with me. So this is Scal's world. I believe Sean and Bill Simmons are very close. They go back a long ways. They've been friends for 30 something years. I've got to believe Scal's lack of involvement has a little something to do with the way Sean was done dirty in that process. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just putting pieces together.
Is Scal responsible for the dial-up connection Eddie House has when he does remote things? Is that Scal's department?
It's got to be. He's on the DSL team, you know. He's Yo, you got holy there, Eddie. You know, it's crazy.
I can't believe they can't get a better internet connection for that. Yeah. Now I will say that I really like Drew Carter. I think he's great.
I like Drew.
I like he's fun. He's got an energy to him. Yeah. You know,
he pushes back against Scal. I think that's great.
I like that he ran the marathon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Got to invite him up to Waldeboro.
Try. That one. I ran Waldeboro the other day, and I'm not in shape for Waldeboro. That's rough.
The beer badly part, maybe, but not the running part.
Yeah, not the running part. No, I did 6 miles, and I felt like 9. Oof. It was rough.
Yeah, going back to your question, they are. I think that there's a need to change how that broadcast crew works. Mm-hmm. I just don't like. I think Scal comes off very arrogant. I don't like the way he. I don't like his manner and style, and maybe it's a part of him being so very he's someone who wants to win. He's competitive, and maybe that's part of that ego. But
he's a little too homery for me.
Really? See, yeah. I would think he's not homery enough. I am a disciple of the Tom Heinsohn school.
I like it. I like Tommy doing it, but in general, I don't like it because I like to just listen to too many baseball ones where they're they don't even know who the starting third baseman is for the other team. They're like, who's this guy? Who's this Scott Rowland character? And I'm like, well, come on, man, do a little bit of research. Care a little bit, you know? Or maybe it's just that I've listened to the Lincoln Academy broadcasts and they've very much annoyed me. Where they're like, I've never heard of this person.
Those guys have charm, and it's it's fun, but and it makes you appreciate if that's not your kettle of fish, it makes you appreciate Larry if you're over at Madomic or Charlie Crockett like we have over
Don
here.
Shields.
Don Bingo, right? I mean, my goodness. That's just in the mid coast, so yeah. We are blessed with some of that, and those guys at Lincoln they're a hoot. They're one of a kind for sure.
I did see once they couldn't figure out their graphics or something, and so they just held up the roster in front of the camera.
Beautiful.
So then I was like, well, all right, that's helpful.
I love the text at halftime that they do. People don't know that it's niche for us. Talk about niche.
Yeah.
People need to check out Lincoln Academy games this year. I don't know if that helps LCTV's, what they're trying to do, but
it can't hurt.
Man, it's wild. It's wild. It's interesting. I love it. Yeah.
I'm very appreciative that they've gotten the scoreboard up now. They've got that. Larry's got that up and running because the Madomic games, especially, it was tough because where they were set up, they were exactly blocked from seeing the scoreboard by the backboard or the support or whatever. And you're like, is that a 5? Is that a 3? Yeah. What's the score? Who's winning? And if you're just sort of checking in, then that can be rough.
And then you've got the buzzer sounds and the whole thing freaks out.
Yeah.
There's that whole thing too, which is a delight.
We're just waiting for the shot clocks to be ready. I think that's what it is.
We will have new scoreboards this year at Camden, by the way.
There you go.
I don't know if
there you go.
My breaking news there, but we raised some money, and in honor of Buddy Garrity of Friday Night Lights fame, we've got a new scoreboard. So
Nice.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
How? Okay, so let's go back to the Celtics series.
The C's, yes.
Annoying as it is that they're about 3 plays away from having won it already and being onto the Pacers. Like, so frustrating. Anyway, but I think the Tatum injury maybe like takes the sting out of being down so much in the series because you're like, well, I don't think they're beating the Thunder
Right.
without Tatum. Um, like how like what do you like? What's your confidence level in pulling off this comeback? And what is your best
Mm,
case scenario? How far can they get?
I don't. I think. I think they. If first off, my caveat: are they healthy right now with who's
Right.
there? Okay, so let's take KP out of it because we know he couldn't even breathe or something. Like I don't even
Yeah,
know
that's rough.
that. But let's take everybody else. If you take everybody else and you tell me Drew's healthy and Jalen is healthy enough to play like Jalen Brown ish,
Played great.
give or take, yeah, absolutely. I think they're good enough to get past the Knicks. The Pacers,
Look really good. I picked the Pacers, and I didn't think they'd do it in 5.
yeah, they're clicking on all cylinders right now. I think Cleveland was banged up too, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we had a full constitution of what the Cleveland Cavaliers are either.
Right.
I went. The family Christmas gift was to go down and watch C's play the Pacers after Christmas. Celtics lost.
Mm-hmm.
We had everybody, and they're just playing with an incredible amount of confidence. The way that Halliburton is, energized, but Nemhard is a beast, and they have a lot of pieces to throw at you that can score the ball. The biggest issue I see with the Celtics right now is their defense. I mean,
Yeah.
they go through these lulls where they stop scoring, but they're giving up a lot of points
A lot
and
of rebounding.
a lot of rebounding. Yeah, so that's more concerning to me, honestly, than the scoring. Is that they just? I mean, yes, the methodology in games 1 and 2 in the second half just completely broke my brain as it did theirs.
It's a
Apparently,
lot of waiting for Tatum to do things.
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually missed game 2 because I was at a movie screening because I thought, oh, there's no way they'll lose game 2 after losing game 1. And I was like, oh, I promised I'd go to this screening. And then I like turned it on, turned my phone back on, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, this is
yeah. Well, if you saw
terrible.
game 1, you saw game 2. I mean,
Yeah.
that you know, um, yeah, I didn't. I also want to give credit to Orlando. I think Orlando played their asses off against the Celtics, and I thought honestly those first 2 games the Celtics were still smarting from the way
Mm.
that Orlando defended them, and so it sort of made them go back because the way Orlando plays, you play ISO heavy because they're up in your grill, and so they're not
Yeah.
helping, right? So they're up, and so it's all one-on-one stuff. And so I think when they got to New York series, they were still sort of like in that mindset. And so by the time they like we saw it here, game 5 was really the first time it felt like the ball was moving and guys were cutting and we are sort of back to playing a normal style of play. And I just don't, that was oh, it was like finally, where was this? But I think that was an issue, particularly in games 1 and 2. I felt like they were still stuck in that mindset of playing Orlando.
I thought in the fourth quarter, especially game 1, I didn't think they were shooting too many threes. I just think they were like a half step rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were open looks, and it was just like a lot of them looked like they were trying to beat the shot clock when they weren't trying to beat the shot clock.
Yeah.
I guess is maybe the best way to describe it. Like I remember Holiday taking one in the corner. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you've got a second to plant your
Right.
feet and set and actually take a good shot here.
That's what it was. I think it was that timing. Orlando, they were on up in your grill so quick. I mean, they were not. Those guys were busted to get over there, and I really
Yeah.
think that messed with the Celtics. Should they be better than that and be able to get through it? Absolutely. But the way that Jalen really was not great until last night.
Yeah.
Game
And as
5, like it would. It
and the
was.
Knicks the
Tatum.
Knicks looked really bad in game one in the first half. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, oh, this is going to be a sweep. Like, they just can't. And that, so they took their foot off the gas, and that's what they do.
Well, that's it. And we saw this with this team throughout the years. When they think they've got you beat or they're hitting their threes, they ease up off the pedal and they sort of just like, it's so much easier just to kill you with our 3-pointers.
Mm-hmm.
And when they go cold and they, that's their methodology. It's sort of like, well, we don't have another gear.
Yeah.
Well, you need another gear because clearly, you missed 14 free field goals in a row in game 2 before that dunk by Tatum.
I'm glad I missed that.
At some point when the others are zagging, we gotta do something different. And that's the thing. Like, they're not defensively, they're decent, but they're not that great. There are places to attack. And it was just like, why is this? So that's why, like, the loss of Tatum was so frustrating because this Knicks team is not that good. They really are not that good. And they're going to go in, and I expect the Pacers to stop them if they get through. I still think the Celtics can win this series. I still think they can
so.
do it. But they're going to need to look a lot more like Game 5 every night. And I don't really need 34 points from Derek White. I don't think they need, I don't think they need, Luke to have, almost a triple-double, 7 blocks. But they've got to defend better. Like,
they just need maybe Josh Hart to not hit like 5 threes.
Well, right.
And
yeah,
Mitchell Robinson to not make all of his free throws.
Yes. And now, how about this? Maybe, just maybe, there'll be a refereeing crew that doesn't give in to the baiting, the foul baiting that Brunson puts up.
Are we getting Scott Foster to extend this to 7?
Well, I don't know. So Scott Foster was in Game 4.
Right. That didn't go well.
We had the one and the only Tony Brothers, who hates the Celtics more than any other official, bar none. We've already had Zach Zarba in this series. Oh. My belief is the only way the league office could make this any worse in Game 6 is to go back and pull out of retirement the 2010 Game 7 crew of Danny Crawford, Joey Crawford, and Bennett Salvatore, and have them work Game 6 in New York.
What's Donaghy doing?
If lose Game 6, there is no way they win Game 7. The series is over if the Celtics can win Game 6.
But if you're the NBA, don't you really want a Game 7 in this series?
Oh, you do. But mentally, can you imagine going from losing Tatum and the Celtics win 2 in a row? Like, it
would be pretty cool. I mean, they're dragging me back into this. I was like super bummed out. What was it, yesterday? Did they play yesterday? This week, man. I was just like, I've never been less interested in a Celtics playoff game in my life. I'm just like, do I even want to watch this? And then I'm like, of course I'm going to watch it.
You got it.
Who am I kidding? And then I was like, they were down early, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. Maybe I'll watch something else and put it up on my computer. And then they they got me back into it. Luke Kornet brought me back from the brink of depression. So my other question for you for this series, Mitchell Robinson's been a nightmare on the boards. We can't try Kata on him.
Well,
I'm not saying give him like 9 minutes in a row. I'm saying like throw him out there for a couple possessions. Yeah. And because when Kata's locked in, he's kind of Mitchell Robinson. Yeah. In a lot of ways, and just maybe match his energy. Yeah. I mean, would we try it?
Well, yeah, no, I'm with you. I've been thinking that especially if
you have no Porzingis.
That's what I'm saying. Right, exactly. If you're at a point where you can't count on Porzingis, and really what you just got to do is we gotta lock in on the defensive side of the ball, and we gotta
rebound.
Yeah, I mean, I think you absolutely have to play Kata. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been unearthed at this point. But I think this uncertainty about can Porzingis play? Can he not play? I mean, he's getting absolutely killed. The man.
But he was good in the Orlando series in Game 2. Was it Game 2?
Yeah, maybe.
One of those games, he was pretty good. He had like 20 and 10.
and maybe it's just a bad matchup for him. Maybe just the physicality of Robinson is too much for him. But
Maybe that's what I'm saying. Throw Kata at it. Let's see it. Let's see what happens.
that's right. Well, it's not like you. It's not like you like he's not already active. Like he's on the bench. He's suited up. You know?
I mean, like in the second quarter, give him like 4 or 5 possessions. See what he's got. You got plenty of time to course correct if it's a disaster. But if nothing else, he can burn some fouls.
That's the thing to me is like, and a lot of people hate that I'm going to say this, but like the foul baiting from Brunson, like there's only one way to deal with that, which is kind of Bad Boys Pistons.
I was going to say Bill Laimbeer action.
You call one foul, but if you hit him 5 times or 3 times, it's only still one foul. And like, this has gotten to a point where you need to like there needs to be some sort of outlaw justice on this because
I like it.
It's just not. It's
not. Where's Kevin McHale when you need him?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, Kata can do that for God. I mean, I don't really understand this. Like, we're gonna let him this thing go on. It makes the product unwatchable. There's nothing. No one wants to watch this. Even a Knicks fan's gonna be like, "Oh, geez, okay."
What did Ryan Russillo tweet? He's like super looking forward to 12 minutes of Jalen Brunson taking free throws.
Exactly.
And then he fouled out. So
that was
well.
The one thing that saved it. I know, because can you imagine if that was at MSG? Like, the crowd would be going crazy about it. Like, let's see, they got another foul. It's like, oh yeah, he's tripped on his shoelace. Literally tripped on his shoelace.
That one was pretty bad. That was, and we had to we lost the challenge somehow. I don't know how we lost the challenge on that one. The challenge we won.
There was another foul Derek White had on him earlier that they tried to challenge.
And that was a terrible call too. You're just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can see that from here, like on the TV while I'm trying to update baseball scores, and I could tell that was the foul on Brunson. Like that's ridiculous.
That is wow.
All right, so we're sort of confident on this series. We're cautiously optimistic. Is that what we're going with?
Well, let's look at it this way. I think we're playing with house money.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So we're playing with house money. No matter what happens, we feel good about a game 5. If we lose in 6, look.
You don't want to get embarrassed in game 6.
Yep. We want to go down fighting. Right? But could we pull off a game 6 win? 110% we could.
Sure.
And, hey, as Kevin Millar once said, we got PD in game 5. Don't let us get one. We got PD in game 5, show in game 6, and I don't know what's going to happen in game 7.
Peyton Pritchard, man. It isn't Peyton Pritchard's time.
Peyton Pritchard,
someone's got to shoot.
This, part of what I was looking forward to in this series was for the Celtics to kind of put their thumb down on the New York Knicks franchise, because we do this every so often, and the Knicks just think that they're actually a real franchise.
Yeah,
and, eventually they just blow up. But I kind of like when the Celtics get to just put that thumb down and just kind of squash them a little bit. And I don't know if we're going to get that even if we win in game 7. But if you go down 3-1 and you come back and you win. I was
tweeting that the Knicks crowd from MSG had real "we've never act like you've been here before" energy.
Completely.
Because, guys, this is the second round.
Yeah.
I understand this is a big game for you. But
the only thing that's missing is confetti at the end of the game, of the games they win. That's the only thing missing. That's how pathetic they are.
It's probably because Dolan doesn't want to pay for it.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. Sounds like it's too expensive. Yeah.
All right. So we're cautiously optimistic. All right. Let's move to Dallas here. Did you okay, so let me ask you this question. As someone who has a child who I presume is a lifelong Celtics fan and is roughly 18 years old.
Yeah.
Isn't Kyrie Irving one of the biggest basketball villains in your life if you're an 18-year-old Celtics fan?
If they live in my house, they are.
Yeah.
I tell you that. Absolutely.
I assume that's not unique to your house.
I would bet, and I don't know anything about this, but
that
the family that would ride around to practices all over the state watching the Celtics DVDs, probably was not a big fan of a certain guy stomping on Lucky. And,
Yeah.
Now,
I'm just thinking out loud here.
That's how I would feel.
I don't know that I would want to, if I were 18, and when I seem to remember about being 18, is that I held grudges even more than I do now. That I would not want to be teammates with the person who did that.
Yeah. And let's, to spin it, if I'm Nico Harrison, first off, I'll take the maybe unpopular opinion, which is I don't think he's wrong to trade Luka. First off,
okay,
I was not. I understand that process-wise, he didn't go about it the right way. Maybe he didn't get enough back.
Definitely not.
But I think that the idea that somehow Luka was this unbelievable, untradeable commodity is a wrong way to look at it.
I wasn't surprised by the finals. I'll say that.
Exactly. That's. I think you look at the finals and you say a guy, and Brian Windhorst, his sort of speech there. I don't remember which game it was, game 3 maybe, and he was like,
yeah, because they won game 4 to avoid the sweep.
And Luka went through that whole thing, and instead of the way Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum took their loss in 22, what did Luka do? Came in overweight, came in not prepared, team was floundering, got hurt, mysterious injuries and this and that, all through the first half of the year.
Yep.
And is expecting like a $500 million extension. So there's problems there with that guy. And so everyone, he goes to LA. I don't love the fact he's a Laker. But,
right.
Also thought, James Harden, he's more James Harden than he's Larry Bird, folks. Like, I don't care what anybody look, but he's not him. He's not Larry. He's not that guy. Jason Tatum is more Larry Bird than Luke.
Oh, yeah.
So, taking that out of it, but like now modern day, where's Dallas? You got Kyrie, you got Anthony Davis. Why would you think you can contend for a championship? You're going to need some more pieces, but you feel like those two are a core of a team that can win a championship, right?
Sure.
How many years does it take for Cooper Flagg to be
on that timeline?
Really meaningful player, right? I'm not talking Jason Tatum 2018, where he's leading a surprising hostile Celtics team to the conference finals and almost beating LeBron. I'm talking like your average run with a very talented and deep team, veterans, the whole bit. I have a lot of belief in Cooper, but is that the right dynamic for him? Is that the right dynamic for Dallas?
I don't think it's a good dynamic for him at all. I think the ownership is terrible. It may be the worst ownership in definitely in the NBA.
Sacramento, Phoenix, Dallas, those three. Garbage.
Yeah. Nico Harrison, who knows what he's doing. I don't trust Kyrie as far as I can throw him. Things sounded, you'd hear rumors about organizational stuff when Cuban was in charge that wasn't amazing, and I can't imagine that's gotten better. I feel like that's probably gotten a lot worse. There's not a lot of history other than, Dirk's not showing up at games anymore. That's not a good sign.
It's crazy.
The uniforms suck. There's not a single good uniform.
Well, this is right there.
I was gonna get a jersey, but I'm looking at the jerseys and I'm like, these are all hot garbage. Like, which jersey am I getting here? Like, maybe the new City Connect will be good. Maybe they'll do a Pine Tree City Connect situation or something. I don't know. Maybe
Pine version or
a Hearts of Pine thing. Maybe Pete
version of the.
Maybe Pete Rogers can make one. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
Pete Rogers is the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. But it just like I was in the newsletter, I was like, okay, I could see how this could work because him and AD defensively, that looks really scary.
Mhm.
The 25 games AD plays, that could be a lot of fun. But then the more I think about it, the more like bummed out I am by it. And
Yeah.
I was like, I thought he was going to Utah. I really thought it was going to be Utah. I just had a feeling, and I liked that. I thought that made a lot of sense. Him with Walker Kessler, and then Danny trades him back over here to do us a solid. Maybe that was the hope. But Charlotte looked interesting. I could see that because there's good coaching there. I don't particularly think Jason Kidd's a great coach. I
Yeah.
haven't seen a lot of evidence of that. So I don't know. It kind of bums me out because I just think it's not a great fit for him.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know what Kelly Flagg can do about that. Kelly, if you're watching, if you want to pull an Archie Manning, you have all of our support
Go get
here
him,
in
Kelly.
Maine.
Go
Yeah,
get him, Kelly. We got your back, Kelly. Go get him.
figure something out. Maybe I don't know. Is that anywhere else?
Go back to
Like
Duke. He can go back
go.
to Duke.
I don't think he can. I think there's a deadline.
Oh, there's a way. There's got no. There is a deadline. I don't. I know that Isaiah Evans Slim is coming back. That was, I think, last week. So I'm not sure.
I think the deadline is before the lottery for that exact reason.
Probably.
Because obviously, although I did hear a great Wizards joke that because someone was like, "Oh, Cooper should go back to Duke for a year because he doesn't want to end up on the Wizards," and some Wizards fans like, "We can do this every year." You think we can't tank 2 years in a row? We will tank until he's a senior.
Yeah.
We got that covered, man.
I mean, there is a team that has a lot of battle-tested players that could go to Dallas. I don't know how the rules would work, but there's a lot of battle-tested playoff performers that you could send to Dallas. That
Yeah.
if you're gonna hit the reset button, there's probably few ways that could be
That's
better.
the
Having
most fun scenario.
It's just a little bit better than having what was I'm just trying that picture of all those guys from the Nets that came back that were just like, oh, I'm here.
Oh yeah, Humphreys and
Humphreys, yeah, Chris Humphreys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keith Bergens,
Yeah,
like,
I think I like that plan. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm just kind of bummed by the Dallas Mavericks of it all.
yeah.
And I don't. That's why I asked, is God dead? Because like the basketball gods should not permit this.
Yeah, I know.
You shouldn't be rewarded with a generational player after you completely screwed up your generational player.
He didn't get enough for what he got. I'll give you that. I think giving up Luka, trying to sucker somebody into taking on a guy that's never going to be in shape and is sort of a, I don't want to say bad team, good player, good stats guy. But
hold on, Reese wants something. What's up, dude?
Oh, Reese is here.
Anyway, yeah. So does this mean we see fewer Cooper Flag jerseys at the Civic Center because their jerseys are so ugly?
I think the fact that it's not a competitor to the Celtics is a big draw.
Sure.
So, that could help. I also think with a relatively new ownership, you might see a new jersey. You might see a new branding. I mean, that team needs branding. They need to throw out the old, they're in a crisis. So
yeah,
they're probably talking to
that
right now about that. I would suspect.
Although you can buy a Maine United jersey on eBay.
Right.
There's this company that makes them. They're you get a Maine United number 32.
It's a little confusing for the people in Dallas, but that's
yeah.
I'm just not set that he's going to be in Dallas. I maybe I don't want to believe it.
You think they'd actually trade that?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me to plug play him between Kyrie and Anthony Davis. It's not like there's a positional issue, but I don't see it. I don't see that making sense.
Well, I mean, Kyrie's out for the year, so there's that, and he's out because he's tore his ACL.
Well, I think he'll be back.
You think he'll be back like mid-season, something like that?
I mean, if you can come back from an Achilles tear,
Yeah, that's true.
you know,
But that's his last. He's on the last year of his contract next year. So if you're pivoting to the future,
but you're not going to be able to trade him until he's back,
right?
and it's a lost asset at that point.
Who wants him?
Yeah, not Boston.
Yeah,
I can say that. Not coming back here anytime soon. That's one of the 30 that can say, yeah, he'll just cross.
Yeah, it's a hard no.
Don't bother to call them. It's okay.
Yeah,
we're good here. We'll have JD Davison as our starting point guard before we'll go back with that whole.
All right, so if you could pick a landing spot for Cooper that's realistic, because the Celtics aren't going to be able to pull that off. What do you is like someone up in the lottery, like the Spurs move up a spot, try to move up a spot, like
swap 1 and 2. Swap one, give
swap
them
1 and 2, yeah.
Give them, the Spurs make sense because they're all on the same timeline. Castle, Wemby, Cooper, plus
Spurs have 7 too, right? They have the 7th pick?
So
I don't think 2 and 7 would do it.
No, but Fox 2 and 7. You've got some
that's interesting
salaries there, some PJ Washingtons and some who else? Gafford. I think Gafford's around 15 million.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me because they're on the same timeline,
Do you think though with that outrage of the Luka trade, they're even gonna let him make a trade?
That's the problem, right? But who's making decisions over there? I don't even know.
I don't know either. Not Mark Cuban.
It's not Mark Cuban, and I don't. Is it the the casino people that are doing? I mean, what a mess! What a mess!
It's such a mess.
How the league let them in? And how about this? Thank goodness for Bill. What's his name? The new owner,
the new guy,
Bill. Who's the new guy?
Chisholm.
How about Chisholm?
Yeah.
How about this? We're in a Tatum jersey to the game.
Did he? I didn't know. I didn't see that because I don't know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Was he sitting next to Wick?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I knew that. I saw that then.
At one point. You know how they always kind of cycle through the people over there?
Yeah.
I think his whole family was there. It looks like his kids and his wife were there again.
I'm encouraged by the fact that he sends hype videos to his wife. I think that's a very good sign.
Absolutely. I mean, but like the thoughts of like I'm gonna wear a Tatum jersey to show my like respect for Tatum. Like that's
smart.
He's doing the little things that are smart. That are like I don't see a step down from Wick. I don't see like a guy who doesn't get it or who's gonna he's gonna be all in, but not he knows his role. I think he's gonna. Thank goodness we're not like in a place where Dallas, where you end up with, casino.
These people who don't understand basketball at all.
God, what a mess! What a mess!
All right, well, I got to let you go, but first, you wanted to right some wrongs of your previous appearance on here because sometimes you feel like you're shouting into the void, and then you go to the Civic Center and like 6 people come up to you.
Right.
In the span of 30 feet going, hey, you forgot about this. And I'll tell you what you don't want to do is you don't want to put a play in the newsletter. You do not want to put a player on the wrong team because you will wake up to so many text messages during tourney week. Be like, hey, you knew that Gabe Hagar an academy, right? Like, yeah, I'm aware. I wrote that at 3. I wrote that at 3 a.m. So.
You get texted by those same 2 guys that broadcast like 18 times. Those same 2. Hey, he's on the team. He's from Lincoln.
I told Seth that was payback for taking out my mailbox.
I'm sure he took it well. I'm sure he did. He's a good guy like that.
With nuance and grace.
And nuance and grace, of course. Yeah. Yes, no, I need to. This is the errors and omissions correction page of the niche high school basketball podcast.
Yeah.
I came on here last time. We talked about Cannon Hills. We talked about Duke, and I'm still sad about Duke losing. I
am too.
How I'm.
Can I stop you for a second? I came into this season. My high school team was the favorite to win their first state title in 40 years,
Yes,
45 years. My college team was the favorite to win the national championship. My NBA team was the favorite to go back to back for the first time since Bill Russell was on the team. Over 3.
Yeah. Other than the first
having a great year.
Other than that first one there, I was with you the whole way.
Yeah.
Although I was sort of
you were on the bandwagon.
I was rooting for the Panthers. I was hoping for some good things. So I can't say that I was,
just awesome year.
It's yeah. I mean, you look back and like I think the last time I was on, it was all on the upward trend there.
Yeah, I thought I'd get all 3 of them, at least 2. I thought two of the 3 I thought I'd get. At least 1 worst case scenario.
Maybe God is dead. Maybe that's
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's been tough. But I didn't talk about the Central Maine Mustangs. And Coach Gagne he watched the last episode. He's like, I didn't know you knew any of this. Well, where did you find out all this stuff about basketball, the whole thing? So I need to make amends to Coach. My kid maybe now kicked off the team. I don't know.
Maybe benched, yeah.
Benched for the rest of the year.
Probably.
Probably. But no, it was. They had a great season. A lot of freshmen. So it's very interesting that small school where they're talking about SMCC, NHTI. A lot of they're small colleges. But particularly in SM and CM's case, those are 2-year schools generally. So you're really talking about kids who are freshmen, sophomores, maybe a few third-year guys. There are a few more who were in the league this year largely because of COVID, and it's sort of even in the small schools, it sort of there were 29.
It's all messed up.
26-year-olds playing. It was.
They were some old-looking dudes when I saw them play.
They were so the men were, so it's, and my kid was 18 literally the day before he showed up at school. So it's but anyway, they had a good season, came up short in the semifinals to a Vermont team that was really talented, but good year. They've got a lot of guys coming back, which is going to be really exciting. Caden Moore, was first team all conference, who's a 6'5", got a power forward who will like mighty left hand and attacks the rim like reckless abandon. Really, could be a player of the year type guy in that league.
Ooh.
And so he's really fun to watch. Devon Jonas, who is a co-captain, will be coming back. He's a wing player who really athletic, long arms, throw it down, pass, do a little bit of everything. And a guy I mentioned, JT Pound from Freeport.
Freeport, yeah.
So Coach Steve Carey, who just got the head job at UMA Augusta.
I was going to mention that. Congratulate friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast, yes. Steve's going to take the head job at Augusta.
I got to get some UMaine Augusta swag now.
You do. Their gear is good looking stuff.
It's like a moose, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's some.
They could get Luke Kornet to be there. They could endorse it.
You got to do it. Make that phone call.
Yeah, get Luke Kornet involved.
He's looking to get some. He's trying to raise some money up there. So that's a good idea, Steve. If you're watching, you can use that idea. No problem. But we've got there's a lot of some good talent. And JT, I was going to mention JT will be coming back from Freeport for his second year. Who is basically Nikola Jokic. I mean, he plays, pass, shoot, do it all. Buzz cut. Love that kid. But I got to say, he made me do that ice bucket challenge thing. And I'm kind of sore with him right now. So good kid.
With JT Pound?
JT Pound, best. I mean, what a great name for a big guy.
It's an awesome name for a basketball player.
It's and he plays. He's hard on the boards. He defends like he lives it.
It's like a name of a guy, like a character in Hoosiers, where you're
yeah,
like, this is the big guy from the opposing school in Hoosiers.
and he's got the crew cut too.
He's got the look. It's
so
it's a good
he
look.
could literally be out there with Hoosiers. With Gene Hackman, may you rest in peace. So it's a good team. My kid's coming back. You got second team all conference. So
If they let him play now, but now they'll let him probably.
What's that?
They'll probably let him play now that you're mea culpa.
If this gets in the good graces of coach, maybe he'll get to play next year.
Let's hope.
I'm hoping for that. But you should have him on. Coach would love to come back. He'd be great. He's been through it. He's been his name's on the floor for crying out loud. So he's done a thing or two.
Hey, let's do it.
It's it's a really interesting time. We've got a lot of change in some of the coaching ranks in the state, particularly at the college level.
Yeah, a lot of change.
But at the high school level too. And so that it's a very the world, kind of the sands are shifting a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because I think there's a lot of great talent. But I think some of the structural things of how the basketball world works make it tough. And coaches have a really hard job at the high school level, the college level. And speaking of another friend of the show, we're going to miss White Hathaway on that team, that CM team, because it was a big part of that team for a long time. Got
to light it up
here. Kid could shoot it like whoo. So he's going to be a big miss. The whole Hathaway clan, we're going to miss them on the sidelines too. But hopefully they'll be coming back to watch quite a bit. But it's hopefully I've done well by coach and talked about the team. but one thing I would say is just generally, whether it's SM, whether it's UMA, whether it's CM, I really hope kids who are playing the high school level are getting out and going to these college games. UMaine's going to be, Markwood's going to have that team ready to go with Ace Flag and a bunch of guys coming in. We all know what the women's program has done at UMaine, but I think one thing we're missing right now is that awareness of the next level. And we all go to high school games, but there's some higher level stuff that's going on, whether it's USM or St. Joe's is always a fun team. Bowden, Bates, Colby, I think for us, to sort of raise the bar and what we're seeing and how we're playing, how our kids are playing, and what the goal is. The goal isn't to go do what the kid that's doing at the same level you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's to go above and beyond. And I think that's one thing that I hope we see more high school kids going to these games, whether it's CM, SM, UMA, whoever, Fort Kent, MMA, there's some really good basketball played at the college level in Maine. And for us, for our high school programs to kind of take those next steps, that awareness, and I think we need better connections between high school and college, because it's there for you. It's that level is there for Maine high school kids, but they got to put the work in. They've got to lift. They've got to do all the things that are needed. But I'm hoping that we see more Maine kids, playing in the state and making those connections. So,
if nothing else, you see what that next level looks like, and you can get a better sense of how far you are away from it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the physicality is real. It's what you see on a Tuesday night at Mount View or at Erskine is not what you're going to see at the Tuesday night at SM or up at Farmington. It's a different brand of ball, but it's there's nothing less. It's not less. It's more. It's quicker. The decision making's better. The shooting's better. The athleticism is obviously better. But Maine kids can compete at that level. They can. They got to work their game. They've got to be skilled. They've got to put the time in. But Maine kids, it's there. but it's a step up. Even if you look down your nose at some of these, at the two-year schools, Charlie Houghton, who was a great player for Dirigo, state champion, he's moving on. I believe it's going to Farmington next year,
Cool.
which is a great get for them. Chance Mercier is going to be playing at SMCC. Obviously, we have Grady Dixon coming to CM, just as his dad played before him there. There's
the USM roster is crazy.
USM roster, right? We got the Galleons are coming down there. Gabe, Flash. It's there's a level there, and sometimes I think because we're so parochial and like we focus on our own towns, and okay, Madonna's the team next door or whatever, or Lawrence or whatever it might be. Like there's a bigger world out there, and the world of basketball is it's big, but it's small. And I think the more we get these kids going to those games, like you were saying, I think it's going to open up even more opportunities for these kids. And in the Mid-Coast, just saying in the Mid-Coast, we're sort of a little bit in a shell down here. There's not a lot of...
Because it takes forever to get anywhere.
Exactly.
You got to drive 45 minutes to get anywhere.
Right. Like it's, go to Colby, it's an hour and 15. You go to Bowdoin, it's an hour and 15. You're going to go to, Bates or CM, it's an hour and 15. Like there's no way around it, but it's there for us. And, I just hope we can see more Maine kids, making that jump, because it's good for high schools and it's good for the whole system of Maine basketball and what we're trying to create.
Awesome. Well, I got to let you go because I got to make dinner, apparently.
I heard.
Yeah, we've cut that out of the episode, maybe, or I left it in. We'll see. We'll see how tired I am tonight. Do you have anything you want to plug while you're here, other than the Celtics hopefully pulling off a miracle?
I need the Celtics. I really need a Game 7. I think the Game 7 is really, like, we get a Game 7, then
who knows? Anything can happen in a Game 7.
They let us win one, and now who knows?
All bets are off.
So, I gotta go buy some Jack Daniels because we're all gonna take shots after, just like the boys did at the Cowboy Up era. So.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna read this out. Thank you so much, John, for doing this, and hopefully there will be no more disasters that we need to go over. Jeez. All right, so I'm going to read this out. This has been a production of MaineBasketballRankings.com, yours for the most comprehensive coverage of Maine high school basketball from Ashland to York and everywhere in between. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts and a bunch of places you don't. If you enjoy this, please leave a nice review because it helps out with the algorithms. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thanks for listening.